I'm Alice Morrison, an adventurer and writer. I've cycled across Africa and run across the Sahara. Now, I'm on the trail of a mysterious and forgotten Arabian civilization, the Nabateans.
Are we standing in the birthplace of written Arabic?
I think I would say that, yes.
They were nomads who forged a rich civilization here in the harsh desert conditions of Western Arabia from the 4th century BCE. They ruled for around 3 centuries until they were swallowed up by the Roman Empire. Now all that's left are the enigmatic remains of their great desert cities of Petra and Hegra in modern-day Jordan and Saudi Arabia. And this is where I have come to explore, to find out how they survived and thrived here, who they were, and even what they looked like. I want to search for clues about their world. I'll investigate their ancient sites, delving deep into their secret tombs and sanctuaries.
Oh my goodness! Indiana Jones, eat your hearts out. Wait till you see this.
I'm tracking down the leading experts doing new research who'll help me build up a picture of the Nabateans.
They did not use slave. It's a respectful job.
The secret Nabateans possessed is the knowledge of the great deserts around them.
And I'm going to meet the people who are living here now to try and understand what life was like then in this remarkable landscape.
This is what enabled the Nabateans to trade, and they're beautiful.
Join me as I uncover the secrets of the Nabateans. The Nabateans forged a successful empire around 300 BCE. That's towards the end of the civilization of the far better known ancient Egyptians. They were nomads and traders who took control of the lucrative incense route all the way from modern-day Yemen through Arabia and up to the ports of Gaza and Alexandria. And it was on this 2,000-kilometre trade route that they chose the site for their capital, Petra, and carved theatres, caves and tombs out of the sandstone rocks.
In many ways, this is a strange place to build a city. We're not elevated and we're not near a river or the sea. But the steep, rocky gorges provided a different kind of security for the desert people who made this their home.
This is the Seek. It's a rock canal just 3 meters across at its narrowest point. That's barely wide enough for 2 camels to pass. For the Nabateans, it was a natural defense, a place to channel water, and of course, a very dramatic threshold to their majestic city. Talk about a secret entrance.
This is an explorer's dream. You come round the corner and the darkness turns into light, which leads to this place, the Treasury. It's quite simply one of the most breathtaking places on Earth.
Intricately carved with these exquisite Corinthian columns, figures and friezes, it's almost 40 meters tall. Like most of the structures still standing here, it's thought to be a Nabatean tomb. To decode its rich facade for me is someone who knows this place inside and out, Dr. Sami Al-Hassanat.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
Wow, Sami, this is such a beautiful, amazing building.
Oh, yes.
I really love it.
This is one of the most impressive monuments in the world, and the more you focus on it, the more you see.
Recently, they started calling it the Treasury, something like a bank or place to treasure valuable things. But the truth that it was just because of the jar on the very top, where you see the urn on the top.
I can see it.
They thought there was gold in it.
And tell me, why is the jar full of holes?
That's because of shooting, thinking there was gold in it.
They must have been so disappointed.
It was so disappointing.
I mean, the building is absolutely wonderful and amazing, but it seems to me to have taken things from different cultures.
Nabateans, because of the trade routes, traveled all over the ancient world. They left Petra as traders, and they came back as engineers, as architects, as astronomists. They learned a lot. So this facade has
Yes.
all influences from all the ancient cultures. Starting from the very top, for example, in the middle between the two central columns, this was Isis, the Egyptian goddess. The pyramid itself in the middle, that is Greek. While on top of the upper angle of the pyramid, there's kind of tabula or table.
Yes.
Right in the middle is the solar disk, surrounded by two horns of the Egyptian cow, Hathor, and two barley or wheat ears on both sides. And this to represent the fertility and the richness, the wealth of the Nabateans. This was their statement, with which they stated themselves squarely with all the other cultures by saying, this is who we are.
It's quite a big statement.
It's an icon, it's an amazing interpretation for who they were.
Star of far too many TikToks, the Treasury is the focal point of Petra for its up to 1 million annual visitors. But to house around 30,000 inhabitants, the Rose City, as it became known due to the distinctive pink sandstone here, sprawled out over 250 square kilometres.
So was this the main part of the city?
This is the city center.
Right.
That's where you find the theater, you find the shops, and you find houses of the common, house of the royalty. But you know, Petra was still inhabited by people until 1985.
Yeah.
We lived in Petra, sharing caves with other families.
لا سؤال في طفولة وأنت كنت طفل كنت هنا؟
طبعا في كل مكان كنت.
أيوة.
وأبونا كان يشتغل مع الغنم مزارع.
أنت روح على البدو.
نعم. وأنا كنت أسرح مع الغنم. I was a shepherd.
Sammy, Professor Sammy, was a shepherd. His dad was a nomad and they lived here with their sheep and their goats. Did you play like hide and seek in these caves and these palaces?
Definitely. And it was always impossible for anybody to could have found me. 2,000 years ago, Petra was chosen for this purpose, absolutely hidden.
Right.
Not only that, but also it is surrounded by huge deserts. So nobody could have found Petra unless they were guided into it. So the secret Nabateans possessed is the knowledge of the great deserts around them.
Wow, okay.
So they established the trade routes. They assumed very high security and peacefulness on top of all these trade routes. Not only that, but they provided with water, food, protection, and they charged tolls and taxes because of that. This is the reason of their wealth.
Dr. Sami comes from a Bedouin family. They were nomads just like the ancient Nabateans. So families like his lived in these caves for centuries before Petra's western rediscovery by the Swiss explorer John Louis Burckhardt in 1812. It's been something of a tourist magnet ever since. But I've asked Sami if he'll show me the places that might contain hidden traces of the people who lived here.
We have here some pottery shards, as you can see.
Shards, I love a shard.
These are pieces left over for 2,000 years.
Isn't that exciting to just come and find things, you know, here that you can pick up?
Exactly.
This is a couple of thousand years old, and I'm holding it.
You can even still make out some of the hand-painted decoration.
That's amazing.
These were usually floral motifs, perhaps inspired by some of the native plants that still grow here.
That's a carob tree. And you know what's interesting about the carob?
No.
Their seeds are 100% similar size and similar weight. They use them to weigh gold with them.
That's
so 24
fantastic.
kirat means 24 seeds of carob.
No.
Yes.
Oh, I love this fact.
The Nabateans were rich and seem to have lived luxurious lifestyles. They amassed their gold by charging as much as 25% on goods that passed through their kingdom. For this high price, traders who entered the city down this street were provided with water, shelter, and protection during their stay here.
When I'm walking down here, 2,000 years ago, would I have been walking with my camels?
That's interesting. You'd have your camel parked outside.
Right, that's the camel park.
Camel parking lot.
Okay.
Then you would come here.
Yeah.
As member of a tribal delegation or
Right.
Traders.
Uh-huh.
Then you would pass The king himself would be standing down there to welcome you to Petra. This was the reception, a welcoming place as a main caravanserai to welcome all these traders.
These revered guests who provided the city's income were merchants travelling along the incense route. As the name suggests, the goods that they were transporting were resins that were highly prized for their perfume and medicinal qualities.
It's a shame we don't have smell-o-vision, because I've just caught a whiff of frankincense, which, of course, was one of the main things that was traded by the Nabateans. Smells amazing. Assalamu alaikum.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله.
ما هذا الريحة زوينة.
هذا
ريحة جميلة.
ريحة الفرانكنسنس. أهلا وسهلا.
ما هو الفرق بين البخور والمر؟
البخور الفرانكنسنس بيجي اللبان، والمر المر بيجي علاج طبيعي. أيوة. البخور الفرانكنسنس ريحة. بعدين البخور الفرانكنسنس بيعمل الباد سبيرين اوت.
الجنون يخرجوا.
بيخرج ايوه.
And myrrh is for medicine for your health.
ايوه، اذا بيكون واحد مجروح كذا هيك بحطوا على من المر على الجرح وبيسكر.
رائعة.
عند شغلة هاي يعني من لها تاريخ قديم من الأنباط، يعني هاي الفرانكنسنس والمير شغلة قديمة يعني.
Frankincense and myrrh may also have had a religious value for the Nabateans. Their giant tombs symbolize the significance of the afterlife, and it's possible that these precious substances may have been included in their burial rites. To ask about their beliefs and how they honored their dead, I'm meeting up with eminent archaeologist Dr. Fawzi Abudana. He's brought me to a tomb off the beaten track that's literally been lost to the sands of time.
Oh my goodness.
Amazing.
Indiana Jones, eat your heart out. Wait till you see this.
So inside you see it's a chamber, and then we have two sides of this big chamber, smaller chambers.
I just want to dig, because what am I going to find underneath here? It's all hidden. It's all secret still.
It is actually.
Would there be more graves down at the bottom?
It is quite possible. They were using every possible space to bury, and most of these tombs are family tombs. So they would keep their beloved ones together in the same place. We nearly know 30% of ancient Petra. So 70% is still uncovered.
That's wonderful.
It is, yeah.
You're going to be busy for the rest of your life.
That's true, that's true. And maybe my sons and their sons as well. And this is good for our culture to keep connections with our ancestors for like 2,000-3,000 years ago.
I love it. Literally, just leave me here, give me a shovel, and I am going to excavate this tomb. It's going to be my life's work.
It's astonishing that even here at such a well-visited site, there's so much to find, with 2/3 still hidden from view. But I'm about to discover that it isn't just the ground beneath us that holds its secrets. There are special places high above us too.
Always nice to do a bit of exercise after lunch. We're all of us getting up here to the high place of sacrifice. The only way to get up is up these steps that the Nabateans would have climbed. And you can see why this is going to be a spiritual experience, because we're surrounded by these red, brooding, beautiful rocks. And the only way to go is up.
It's an unrelenting, wind-blown climb up more than 800 steps.
فوزي، سؤال مهم. هذه القمة؟
نعم، هذه القمة تقريبا. تقريبا. نعم.
But I can see why Dr. Fawzi wanted to bring me up here.
This is so impressive.
It is indeed. This is really a fascinating spot. High places in ancient civilizations, including the Nabatean, were really the points where you would probably get closer to your deities. And we know that the Nabatean religion was based on worshipping solar deities. So this is a high spot, a nice place
the sun.
to look to the heaven, to the sun, and they sacrificed animals during certain occasions, like the festivals or feasts related to their deities.
So you'd come up these steps.
Maybe this is the last part
Yeah.
of the festival.
They could have
Yeah.
walked around here, couldn't
Yeah,
they?
yeah. This was a common practice in the Nabatean period, and you could make
Like a
circumambulation.
exactly.
Circumambulation like around the Kaaba in our time. You could do this,
Got the water.
and maybe you get the blessings from the priest, like pouring some
maybe.
water or blood. We
be.
don't know what was going on.
At 170 meters, this is one of the highest places in Petra. It does feel like it would have been a perfect spot to worship a sun god. But even with experts like Dr. Sami and Dr. Fauzi to guide us, the Nabatean civilization keeps its secrets close.
Petra is so magnificent and so visible, and yet there's so many unanswered questions. Why is that? Why do we know so relatively little about this magnificent civilization?
Because unfortunately, we don't have a Nabatean historiography, because the lack of written evidence, the lack of inscriptions, all of the main monuments in Petra, they don't have inscriptions. One of the explanations for that, saying that they were covered with plaster, with stucco,
Right.
and painted, and most likely inscriptions were written on that.
But did they leave any written evidence, like on some form of paper or papyrus?
So I think they must have written, because we know that the Nabatean community was well organized. Probably in the future we could find something, and as one archaeologist said, the absence of evidence is not evidence of absence.
Petra, in all its splendor, has taught me a lot about how the Nabateans built, traded, worshipped, and honored their dead. But I want to know about their everyday life. I want the human story. And so it's time for me to leave Jordan and travel over 500 kilometers south, across the border to Saudi Arabia.
I'm actually travelling down the road that the ancient Nabateans would have used as their main trade route. Although, of course, I'm in a car, so I'm a bit faster than if I had camels and I was on foot. The reason the trade route is here is because of the oases on either side of the road. They were vital stepping stones which dictated the life of the humans trying to live in this vast arid landscape.
And to find out what these fertile areas provided to the traders, I'm visiting the palm tree-filled valley of Al Ula.
I've come to a traditional farm in an oasis to meet Saud, who's been farming this since he was a child, to learn a little bit more about how the Nabateans might have lived. And we're in Saudi Arabia, and women are no longer obligated to wear an abaya and a headscarf, but number one, as a mark of respect, I like to cover my head. And number two, because it's extremely hot, and this provides me with some shelter.
يا هلا
السلام عليكم.
وعليكم السلام
Saud.
مرحبا نورتينا وشرفتينا
Date palms like these have been planted here since 2400 BCE. They can survive extended drought, live for up to 100 years, and produce a highly nutritional fruit, the original superfood.
شوفي زي الثمر هذا هذا على طول ويعتبر يقدم مع الضيافة العربية.
وإلى مثلا أنا كنت في وسط الصحراء وما عندي أكل
معك تمر ما تموتين.
صح. وبكام التمر في اليوم لازم للحياة؟
ممكن 7 تمرات.
أنا سمعت هذا.
7
صحيح.
بالضبط.
And it strikes me that that is another secret of the Nabateans, because they had dates, they were in these oases, this is where the trade route is, and if they had these, then they could cross the desert. Bismillah.
بالعافية.
لا أنا بشوفها. الذوق طعم.
مع القشطة.
Oh. We need a little bit of camel cream to just dip it into, and then it'll be perfect.
Fortuitously, Saud doesn't just produce dates. He's also got a herd of 13 dromedaries, one-humped camels. I love camels, so I can't wait to meet them.
I'm in my happy place. Look at their little curious faces. ما تستعمل الجمل للركاب أو
للركوب
للحم؟
فنستخدم للركوب كانوا يستخدمونه قديما برضه للتنقل للسفر للحمل نقل الأغراض
نعم.
فحنا وجودها متعة.
Saad was just telling me how important these camels are, and it's not just about what they can produce and what they can give. It's also that they're very much a part of his culture and his family's culture, and in fact the culture that brought us the Nabatean Empire.
And of course, their produce is appreciated too.
الهدية هذه
وريني.
لا عادي على يدك يلا.
Okay, هنا وهذا.
ايوه يلا.
So for the Nabateans, they would have had female camels in the camel train, they would have had baby camels would have been born along the route, and they would have had this milk as well as the dates, which is absolutely delicious.
يلا هذه تبي حلبها.
Ship of the desert. It's like a cliche, but in fact it's the truth. And without these, there would be no trade, there would be no tombs, there would be no Hegra, there would be no Petra. This is what enabled the Nabateans to trade. And they're beautiful.
This oasis farm has given me an insight into how the extremely resourceful Nabataeans could have flourished in these desert lands, allowing them to build not only their spectacular capital of Petra, but also their second great city of Hegra here in Saudi Arabia. Next time, I'll explore this incredible site that was closed to the world for so long, look deeper into what their society was like and the role played by women. I'll discover the secrets of how they lived and come as close as I can to meeting an actual Nabatean. Join me as I continue to uncover more secrets of the Nabataeans.
I mean, just look at this.